Good morning. This is our Weber County Commission meeting here on Tuesday, the 20th day of February, 2018. This morning we're going to have an invocation by John Warren. Our pledge of allegiance will be given by Michelle Elliott. And is that better?
Thank you.
I could hear me just fine. And our thought of the day will be given by Commissioner Gibson. Mr. Warren.
Let's pray. My Father in heaven, we're thankful for your goodness to us. And Lord, you are thankful or good to us in all things, and we praise you for that. And Lord, we ask for your help today on this proceedings of the County Commission. And we do pray that you help the men and women who volunteered to serve in the capacity for our self-government. And Lord, we pray that during this time that not only will they seek to do what's right, Lord, but they'll also judge righteously in all matters concerning the people. And Lord, we pray that it be their desire to do your good will on our community. We're thankful for this time, and we ask that your blessing be on the day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have some exciting stuff on our agenda today, and we're excited to see you all here, especially all of you in uniform, and those who are here to support them. We're excited about that. So I'm going to keep the thought of the day really short. I don't think in all the years I've ever quoted the Bible before, but this is a good one that struck me. This is in James chapter 1, verse 19. It says, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath." Something that's always a good reminder for me. So that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We have a presentation today given by Sheriff Terry Thomson. I want you to know that I've known Terry since high school. He is proof that a man can be reformed.
Say no more. Thank you for
that,
Commissioner Hart.
Oh, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes just kind of land on your commission meeting today. We really appreciate that. We've just got some really good people that we'd like to recognize for some of the great work that they're doing. And we want to thank all the family and friends that are here today as well. It's good to have them here to support them. And it's just good to have them here to see some recognition for some of our employees and some of our search and rescue folks and volunteers and others that have just done some really good work for us. So thank you for giving us a few minutes in your commission meeting today. Appreciate that. And of course, I've always got good help keeping me organized, planned, and on task. So Lieutenant Toll is helping me make sure I get this right today. And I even brought my real glasses with me today.
I had your back on.
So you won't tease me about my fold-up ones on my belt.
You still have them?
Yes, I do. All right, we're going to start off with our Marine Patrol unit, and this is kind of a unit citation. And so we're going to ask them to come up here, and they're just a great group. As you guys know, we do Marine Patrol up on Pineview Reservoir, and we took that over in a partnership with State Park Service, so about a decade ago now. It's worked out really, really well. It's been a great partnership, and these guys do just a phenomenal job up there on the reservoir for us. So I'm going to have each of them come up. Is that okay? Deputy Mike McDonald, Tyler Greenhall, Bodie Malin, Weston Voth, Kevin Lagerquist, Jacob Weezy, and Kylie Slater. Come on up, you guys. You can surround me right here. In fact, Is this okay? You guys doing all right? Okay. I should make them all turn around and face the audience so they can see them, right? Okay. So I think they're giving them their best side right now. So. Okay. So this is for our 2017 Marine Patrol Unit. During the 2017 summer season, Marine Patrol encountered several remarkable situations at Pineview and Kazi Reservoir. The Marine Patrol deputies showed outstanding professionalism and dedication in every situation they were called to. They responded to 2 near drownings and several medical calls for help. They responded to several boat accidents, including one boat running over the top of another. They also responded to several sunken vessels and worked with property owners to retrieve the sunken boats. The Marine Patrol unit responded to several calls for service on the beach as well. This year, an alcohol ban was passed and went into effect on the beaches of both reservoirs. I think you're all pretty familiar with that. It has been very successful. Deputies helped enforce this.
Excuse me, it has been what?
Very successful. Just very successful. Deputies helped enforce this ban, which reduced the number of disturbances on the beaches, making it a safer place for recreationists to enjoy what Weber County has to offer. Working on the water becomes tricky with many obstacles and unstable conditions. Because of the dedication of the Marine Patrol, not one life was lost during the 2017 boating season. So I just want to thank these guys personally for the good work that they do up there. And enforcing that kind of new alcohol ban was a challenge, but they rose to the challenge, did a great job with it. And fortunately, we think partly because of that, we had a very safe boating season this last year. And I want to give these guys due credit for the hard work they did up there for us. So, do you mind if we give them a hand? Right there. I knew we were missing one. No, hey. Thank you. Did you want to get a picture up here? Yes. Okay.
Yes. Can we come down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Up front.
Yeah, hang out here.
You can turn around and face it.
All right. Now, the one final thing our photographer is supposed to say to us old guys is suck in just before they hit that button.
These both go hand in hand.
Okay. All right, this next one, Commissioners, is a life-saving medal for a couple of our deputies who did a great job of stopping an attempted suicide over this last year, and it was a tough one. This is one where they had to respond and find this individual on a bridge over the river, and it was kind of a harrowing experience, but they did a great job with it, okay? This is for Deputy Bodie Malin and Jacob Weezy. Come on up here. So we'll have you turn around and face everybody this time. All right, there you go. Here, I'm going to flip around here a little bit. You guys okay with this? Yes. All right, here we go. So some details. On March 22nd, 2017, a call came in about a female who was threatening to commit suicide by jumping off a bridge with a rope around her neck. Deputies Bodie Malin and Jacob Weezy located the female on 17th Street from a phone ping and saw that she did in fact have a rope tied around her neck that was also attached to the bridge. Deputy Weezy coordinated other officers downriver with throw bags in case the female jumped into the river. He also stood close to the bridge in the event he needed to take hold of her if she attempted to jump. Deputy Malin recognized the female as a prior student from the school to which he was assigned as a school resource officer. Again, the value in just another collateral way of having school resource officers. Deputy Malin had a good rapport with the female and was able to talk her off the bridge because of that prior relationship he had built with her. Because of the outstanding work by these two deputies, they were able to successfully convince her that ending her life was not the answer, and by doing so, saved her life that day. So while this is kind of simple and short, this was a longer, more prolonged, and just a phenomenal job these two did with this gal. And so, it's one of those things you could talk about all day long, right? But they just did a great job with this. So often we're called on to just make decisions and choices that are life and death in seconds and minutes, and these guys just did a great job responding to this. And with that built-in relationship, came in very handy. They coordinated it well, and were able to save a life that day. So congratulations, and let's give them a hand.
As instructed, please suck in. I'm comfortable with nothing.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna have Rob Tyler come up and Kyle Nyland. You got Kyle's? His is separate? Okay. We'll have Rob come up first. Come on up, Rob. Now, some of these are kind of fun because they're the sheriff's medal, which, by definition means I'm the one that gets to choose who gets that medal, right? Which is really fun. So it's fun for me to be able to recognize those who have done so much for the sheriff's office. And these next two are going to deal with our restored 1965 Mustang. Some of you have probably seen that, right? That pretty green Mustang. And we're so fortunate that Alan and Jeannie Hall gave us that Mustang years ago for us to use as a drug recognition car. And over the years, we've just had some wonderful work done on it, and it's been, I think, without any doubt at all, one of the greatest public relations tools we've ever had at the sheriff's office. We build it for drug recognition for the kids, but the big kids like it too, including myself. And so it's been really good. People love it, and they want to visit with us and talk to us about it, and it just does a great job in promoting the sheriff's office and that recognition of particularly the kids to avoid and stay away from those drugs. And we have good people who do a lot of good work on it. And Rob Tyler, and in a moment I'll bring Kyle Nyland up as well. Thank you. Are just good people. They've done a lot of work on it over the years. It had the original old technology in it, right? And they weren't built back in 1965 to drive stop and go in like the heat of parades in the middle of the summer at 105 degrees. And so we've kind of battled, and it's been a challenge to try to keep that thing running well. And so about the fifth or sixth time it overheated and I had to pull out of a parade. Rob and Kyle jumped on board and helped us put some new technology in that car to help us avoid having to do that in the future, and I really appreciate that. So, a little more detail. The Sheriff's Medal and Special Recognition of Excellent Service to the Weber County Sheriff's Office is presented to Rob Tyler for his dedication and hard work on the Sheriff's Office restored 1965 Ford Mustang, our drug awareness car. The Sheriff's Office Mustang has been a single most effective public relations project within our office. We have been challenged with the decades-old mechanics of this car, and and it has become necessary to perform significant work on the existing motor or replacement of a more recent motor with newer, more dependable technology. Rob was excited about the potential of this restoration project. That's fair to say, isn't it? Oh, yeah. With newer technology and assisted in contacts that made the project a reality. Rob was able to obtain the new motor, drivetrain, suspension, and accompanying mechanics at a cost very reasonable for the sheriff's office. Rob directed the mechanical work of the restoration and ensured that the work was top-notch and done right, working many hours on this project that he took to heart. Rob's dedication and commitment to this restoration has been a tremendous benefit to Weber County. Our 1965 Mustang will continue to encourage kids to avoid drug use and provide positive interaction with Weber County residents for many years to come, thanks to Rob's efforts. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Should we let's have Kyle come up, and we'll grab you both and get a photo all together afterwards. Sound like a deal?
Let me get one
Okay.
for Rob's scrapbook. I'm sure he scrapbooks. He looks like a scrapbook.
Come on. Oh. Hey, wait. Come here. We still got pictures right there. Yeah, let's grab Kyle's. Hold that. We'll just get some photos right here. No, we'll grab another one with the commissioners here in a minute, so.
Smiling.
Suck in.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
I said he whispered. Come on up here. Kyle is the one that ultimately had to say, we're going to do this, okay? I'm going to give the authorization to put Rob to work and let him jump out there and get this done, because Rob was excited to do it, but he had to have Kyle's, as his supervisor, had to get his authorization to get this work done. So we appreciate you, Kyle. Thank you. Kyle has served as the director of our Weber County shops, and all work being performed on our many sheriff's office emergency services vehicles. Kyle was instrumental in directing the work to be done on our restored 65 Ford Mustang. The Sheriff's Office Mustang has been the single most effective public relations project. We have been challenged with the decades-old mechanics, and he's done a superb job of the significant work on the existing motor and replacement of a more recent motor with newer, more dependable technology. Kyle's scheduling of staff providing flexibility of defined responsibilities and assignments were critical to making this restoration project a reality. The Sheriff's Office is grateful for Kyle's willingness to work with us and his excellent staff. Our Mustang will continue to encourage kids to avoid drug use and provide positive interaction with Weber County residents for many years to come. And I deeply appreciate Kyle's efforts, because he had to do some scheduling, had to rearrange some things, and make his staff available to get this work done. And without Kyle's help, we just could not have got it done. So this Sheriff's Medal is for Kyle Nyland, and thank you so much, Kyle. Appreciate you. Let's get together.
For Kyle's scrapbooking.
That's right. Come on up, you guys. Detective Steve Haney, come on up. Let me say just a little something about Detective Haney as he comes up here. I've been around for a little while, and there's a couple other guys that have been around as long as I have as well. And many of us had the distinct privilege of working with Art Haney, Steve's father, who was a tremendous investigator, excellent sheriff's office employee. I have to say, however, that Steve is just as good, if not just even better, in his own way. You know, in the 30 years I've been here, I've known a lot of investigators at the sheriff's office, right? And they all bring their expertise at the table. Steve is probably the most well-rounded and thorough, and just, I could talk all day about him. He just does a phenomenal job as our really kind of that unrecognized lead investigator at the sheriff's office. We could actually stand here and give him awards like all day long, really. But he is part of every collaborative investigative unit in Weber County. And about half the time when I call him, he screens my calls now because he's wondering where he's going, right? I mean, I've farmed Steve out to I don't know how many different agencies, right, around Utah and other places, because his expertise is necessary and needed, and he's followed up and assisted with investigations in many other agencies around. He's just phenomenal. So with that in mind, I'm gonna read this for you, but I'm gonna have Chief Deputy Kevin Burns come up and just give you kind of a summary of this particular case. Again, we could cover cases Steve's handled forever, but Kev, will you come up and just take a moment and explain kind of a few of the details that took place in this particular incident?
So Steve had an opportunity to investigate an individual years before that had done some burglaries and some ATM thefts and had raised a lot of havoc in Weber County. This individual went to prison. Individual gets out of prison. Steve is notified that the individual's out of prison. So Steve takes particular interest in what he's doing and comes across some information that he may be planning, may be involved in some additional crimes, much like he was prior. So Steve, with some work that he was able to do with a task force that he was assigned to at the strike force, the Western Hemisphere, big name, it sounds really cool, and it really is. But he was able to work with across state lines in tracking this individual out into Rich County, where he committed a similar crime. But this particular case, Steve had word that this individual had gone to Colorado, and when he was on his way back, individual was stopped out in Merritt-Slaterville, and Steve called into the town in Colorado. I'm trying to skip some of the stuff so I don't give away some secrets. But he called the town in Colorado and asked them if they had a burglary that matched this description. Oh, no, nothing. Go out and do some work. A few minutes later, how did you know we had the burglary? That he received a phone call and ended up taking the guy into custody, found the safe that he had stolen out of Colorado and was transporting back. And this was a great piece of work that Steve did with a lot of help from the task force. At one point, he even lined up helicopters to track this individual across state lines. We had a lot of fun listening to him talk about it, and he was very excited. And he's not just an amazing detective, he's an amazing individual. And that's why he's a good detective, because he's such a good person. So, thank you.
All right, I'm going to read a few more details here for you. But as you can see, Steve isn't happy with just solving crimes in Weber County. That's not big enough for him. It's got to be Western Hemisphere, so. Medal of Merit awarded to Detective Steve Haney. Detective Steve Haney worked diligently to track and arrest a suspect in a string of ATM burglaries. Detective Haney had arrested the suspect in 2011 and kept an eye on him when the suspect was released from prison. That's good work, right? Just keep a little eye on him, you know what I mean? Detective Haney was able to apprehend the suspect in this case after reviewing surveillance following up on similar burglaries in other jurisdictions. Learning which vehicle he was driving, placing a tracker on a vehicle, and tracking him from a burglary. He then arrested the individual who was in possession of the stolen property. Through his hard work and determination, Detective Haney was able to solve crimes in multiple jurisdictions. Thanks to Detective Haney's perseverance, the individual was convicted of the crime and was again sentenced to prison. Good work, Steve. Appreciate you.
He's a legacy employee. Come on up. There. It'll make Art smile.
On this last case, and I know the commissioners are just getting tired of us being here, but you know what? This is so important. We're just taking more of their time, aren't we? Yeah, more. Yeah, dang right. This last one is just a phenomenal case that, and I have no problem saying, the finest search and rescue unit in the country. Right here. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. We truly love these guys and gals. They just do a tremendous job. And this was just a phenomenal case, and so we certainly want to recognize them for their just dedicated and committed and hard work on this deal. Is amazing. So Lieutenant Toll's going to come up and show a short presentation, have a PowerPoint presentation on what unfolded and what happened, so that we're all got a better idea of this recognition and why it is so deserving today. So come on up, Brandon.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thanks, Commissioners, for having us. So I'll just kind of go just real brief on the PowerPoint here. Let's see. Yep, sorry. Let me back up real quick. Okay, so just a real, just to go through the timeline, we'll get into some details a little bit further into the PowerPoint, but for the timeline, had a missing aircraft reported overdue on December 29th, and Weber County received that call. We got some information that actually put the last phone ping, or the last radar ping of the airplane into Box Elder. So on December 30th, Box Elder search and rescue operations began utilizing multiple aircraft, Civil Air Patrol, the Division of Public Safety helicopter, along with the Box Elder Sheriff's Office employees and search and rescue. On January 5th and 6th, Weber County was called in to assist with utilizing our sonar. On January 6th, the aircraft was located under 20 feet of water, and the first dive attempt by our search and rescue dive team was attempted on January 7th, and then the recovery of the two pilots actually happened on January 13th. So the operational period for this entire operation was 15 days. Total paid hours for all agencies involved was 1,152, and volunteer hours for all agencies involved was 972. The Weber County team paid hours was 164, and the volunteer hours for our team alone was 332. And then we combined our team only travel distance was 2,340. So January 5th, when we were called in, we were called into this remote area. It was horrible conditions. As you can see, the spot up there was the location of the search area, just outside of Promontory Point. You can also see on that windshield of the boat, it's frosted over. Conditions were very, very cold out there. Family put together this search area with some additional radar information and some calculations that they did. Family was phenomenal, and they were very, very helpful in this case. But they gave Box Elder this map with some additional information, a 3 square mile area to be searched, that they believe that the plane may have gone down in this area. The aircraft was located on that top X spot there on the corner, just outside the search area. Using the technology that we have, as you can see, that top right-hand picture is what the Great Salt Lake looks like on the ground, and you can see the aircraft picture for the sonar used on that bottom right-hand side, and the aircraft is upside down. That's in 20 feet of water. So, we did our first dive attempt on January 7th. Conditions were horrible. We got all the boats loaded, all the equipment loaded, the divers started getting on the different boats, and fog came and settled in. And we literally couldn't see 10 feet in front of us. Couldn't even get out to the location to even have the divers attempt to get it in the water, this first attempt. We faced a lot of challenges, extreme cold temperatures, multiple motor failures, and the foggy conditions. We can only last out in this location about 2 hours with the boats, and due to the 27% salt salinity, the motors had to be flushed constantly, and we still lost several motors. Along the way, traveling to and from, we were constantly getting flat tires, dealing with having to clean equipment every day. Just the conditions out there just wreaked havoc on everything we had. So during the week prior to the recovery, our dive team spent a lot of time pre-planning safety sessions, and also made arrangements to go up to the Ogden Airport to look over a almost an identical plane, to blindly fill it, to know what they were up against, to know how the seat belts worked, to know how the door latches worked, to pretty much have an idea filling this aircraft with their eyes closed, knowing they weren't going to see anything once they got under the water. So they put a lot of preparation into this throughout the week. Second attempt, January 13th. This really put our pre-planning to the test. You can see that the weather conditions were incredible. I mean, couldn't ask for a better day. Sunny conditions, it was still a little cold, but underwater, you can see the color of the water there, but underwater was still near zero visibility. And with the 27% salt salinity in that location, divers literally had to double their body weight just to get under the water. That is not normal for conditions that we have to deal with at our other lakes. So with that, we were able to recover both the individuals. Only one diver was able to make it down. Of the other divers were literally handing their weights off to just a few that were in the water to try and get under. And really, as they're fighting to try and get under the water to get down to that plane, only one was actually able to make it down there. And that was Art Plume. Art described as he got down to the plane that he had to do everything by feel. As he was down there, filling his way across the plane to the doors of the plane. Again, the plane was upside down. So he happened to think in his mind from what they worked on up at the Ogden Airport, this thing's upside down. So he had to put a lot of thinking into this. He felt his way around. He was able to recover both individuals. During the second recovery, as he's going around the plane, Art had a leak in his suit. And he wasn't aware of this at the time, but as time went by, as he was under the water, because of the extreme cold conditions and the leak in the suit, he started developing hypothermia. As he's conducting the second recovery, he's starting to lose mobility because that hypothermia is just setting in and making it more difficult for him. He was able to accomplish getting both the individuals out of the plane and was able to surface. Because of the recovery effort, it brought closure to all the agencies involved: Box Elder, Weber County, the state parks, and the State Division of Public Safety, especially the families of the two pilots. Here's a picture of the Weber County team. Just real quick, back on the right-hand corner there, that's all teams involved, all agencies involved on the day of the recovery, and the Weber County team of the day of the recovery. And we just put a special tribute to the men and women of the Weber County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team who give of their time and their skills, putting themselves in harm's way, helping to make the Weber County Sheriff's Office best in the West.
Thanks, Brandon. And if I could have Box Elder County Sheriff Kevin Potter come on up, Sheriff, if you would, please. I'm going to have Sheriff Potter come up. We have a great working relationship with Box Elder County, and we've assisted, partnered on a number of different searches with them. They have a great unit over there, and it's just been a great partnership. And Sheriff Potter has been such a good friend and such a good partner in that neighboring Box Elder County. Really appreciate him. And so I'm going to have him come up here with us, and I'll let him speak to us here in a few minutes as well. He's also got some coins from Box Elder County he's going to give to each one of our recipients here as well when we bring them all up. We're going to kind of do this in two parts. As you can see from Brandon, what Brandon went through was just an unbelievable operation. And to most of us who are unlearned, right, and just not as educated as our search and rescue folks, we hear, well, 20 feet of water, it doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But understanding these 27% degree of salinity in the Great Salt Lake is just really far more challenging and frankly dangerous than we give it credit for. It's just a whole different operation and a whole different environment. And as Brandon, mentioned here, twice your body weight to get yourself under that water. I mean, that'd be a little disconcerting for us, right? But these guys are so good at what they do, and it took some planning, some preparation. As you can see, they spent time on a similar plane trying to figure out how it works and how to function underwater in zero visibility. And then just fortunately, Art, as big as he is, come on up here, Art. Art is clearly one of the smallest guys we have on the team. And yet he was able to finally get that incredible, massive body of his underwater with enough weight. And probably in retrospect, not knowing, probably that leak in his suit helped him to get under that water and down to make this happen. Although in the end, we were happy to get him out of there. It was still okay, right?
So was I.
Yeah, I'm sure. So it was just an incredible operation. So just as we kind of lead into this, we're going to, I've got an individual one for Art and then another for the team as well. But I just want to read to you, leading into that, just a really, really nice note from one of the families of those we were able to recover in this operation. And it's addressed to Weber County, Dear Weber County Search and Rescue. Our family is profoundly grateful to the volunteers who helped in the search and recovery of Peter Ellis and Denny Mansell, whose small plane went down in the Great Salt Lake at the end of December. We understand that there were many difficulties in this process due to the rough terrain, salt water, and the cold and fog. We thank you that through your professionalism, diligence, skill, and compassion, the recovery was successful. Our relief was indescribable when we heard from Sheriff Potter that the bodies had been recovered. You did for us what we could not do for ourselves. In looking back, we recognize that the plane was located only because of so many volunteers and professionals who provided skills, equipment, time, and knowledge. We were amazed at this team effort and so very impressed by the coordination of everyone involved. We especially want to thank the dive team. We were told that this dive was very technical and performed with low visibility. We know that during the week prior to the attempt, the divers practiced at the airport on another Cessna 172 in order to be able to do the work by feel. We all cried when we heard that Art's suit had a malfunction and exposed him to such cold water. We were touched when the National Transportation Safety Board team conveyed to us the respect and dignity with which the bodies were moved from the water onto the recovery boats. We are so very grateful to all of you for your willingness and determination to give us closure to this accident. Thank you for your service that you performed for our family. Just a very, very nice, very warm and heartfelt letter from the family, and I think expresses, all of our thoughts and gratitude for the entire team, certainly Art as well, and for the dedication and commitment of our search and rescue folks who do such a tremendous job. We just we love them and support them in every possible way. And I know I'm a little bit biased, because Box Elder has a great team too. But we have the finest team in this country, and I think they deserve another hand. I'm going to have Sheriff Potter come up and just share a couple words with us, and we really appreciate Sheriff Potter being here. Again, he's such a good friend and such a good partner in so many different ways in our bordering agencies. Come on up, Kevin.
Just like to let the commissioners know how much we appreciate Weber County in that relationship. One quick phone call to Terry explaining the trouble I had, and I asked for the team, and I had it for as long as we needed it. It didn't matter how long that was going to be. And I'm going to pass out coins. If you're familiar with these, they started in the military, and you knew you'd served in a guy's unit if you had coins. I want to make sure everyone here gets my coin, because if you were out there, we've all served together. So. And I want to especially thank our volunteers. Any sheriff will tell you that these search and rescues can't be done without the volunteers. I mean, they don't just volunteer. They're leaving, they're closing small businesses. They're taking vacation and time away from their family. They're spent money on their own equipment. I mean, it costs it. It's not just volunteering. It costs them money to be on these teams. We couldn't do it without them. So appreciate you.
Thank you, Sheriff Potter. Truly hearts of gold, our search and rescue, absolutely. Let me put my eyes back on here. Art Plume, this is the Sheriff's Medal. Again, this is one of those cool ones I get to give out to guys individually. On January 10th, 2018, Arthur Plume completed one of the most dangerous and difficult dives of his career, involving the recovery of 2 missing pilots in the north arm of the Great Salt Lake. At the end of a 2-week search and assist to Box Elder County, the missing plane and 2 pilots were located under 20 feet of water. Arthur Plume, who is an experienced diver for the Weber County Search and Rescue Team, was able to wear all available lead weights from the other team members. Can you imagine that? To dive below the surface in the 27% salinity of the lake and descend to the submerged plane. Once at the plane, Arthur had near zero visibility and had to feel his way around the fuselage, only seeing shadows. He was able to break both passenger and driver's side windows to unlock and open the doors, freeing both pilots from the plane. During the underwater recovery in near freezing temperatures, Arthur experienced a leak in his suit that was undetected until halfway through the dive. Arthur started to experience hypothermia as he began losing mobility. Arthur was so close to finishing the retrieval that he fought through the cold and completed the recovery of both pilots. Because of Arthur's experience and dedication to completing the mission, he helped bring closure to a long-awaited search and recovery operation. Art is truly a hero and inspiration of the motto, "These things we do, that others may live." Or in this case, that families may have closure. Thanks for your dedication in making Weber County the best in the West. And thank you personally, Art. Appreciate you. I'm going to have Art hang out up here. Come on up. And we'll get a group picture with everybody once we get there.
Can everyone else next to Art please stand up?
So don't go too far, Art. This one is Medal of Merit for each member of the search and rescue team who assisted in this recovery. So I'm going to have everybody come up. Lieutenant Brandon Toll, Sergeant Mark Horton, Deputy Bodie Malin, Dave Casperson, Rick Goodliff, Don Olson, Sean Palm, David Phillips, Art Plume, Howard Plume, Mark Plume, Dustin Robley, Kevin Tam, Sherry Turbovich, Buffy Tuttle, and Scott Willis. So come on up, you guys. That's good, fan out there. Okay, let me read through this and we'll get some photos here. Medal of Merit, 2018 Search and Rescue Dive Team. January 5th through 13th, 2018, the Weber County Search and Rescue Team assisted Box Elder County on the report of a plane and 2 pilots missing over the Great Salt Lake. Our team joined the multi-agency search of the lake with our side scan sonar, and once the plane was located under 20 feet of water, our divers spent countless hours planning and practicing for the recovery of the 2 pilots, who were assumed to be still within the plane. The north arm of the Great Salt Lake's 27% salinity makes it difficult, extremely difficult, for divers to submerge. Added to this is the murkiness of the water, yielding conditions of near zero visibility. Day after day, during both the search and recovery, environmental challenges constantly work against us, causing boat motors and dive equipment to fail and putting our team members at risk with the extreme cold and foggy conditions. On the day of recovery, our team members calculated and then gathered all of their lead weight to enable the designated divers to successfully overcome the extreme buoyancy effects of the salt water. One diver, Art, was able to submerge using almost all of the combined weight belts. Overcoming all of these obstacles, our team successfully recovered the 2 pilots, giving closure to the family and friends of these 2 great men. And it was truly a team effort. We applaud the Box Elder Search and Rescue Team as well, and are extremely grateful to our folks for this team effort in making this recovery possible and making it successful. So let's give them another hand.
Sherry behind you. He's done that before. Did you get us? Okay. Wait a minute, Sherry's got to get a picture for the search and rescue.
Okay. Thanks, guys, appreciate it. Thanks, you guys. Hey, just one final thank you to our commissioners for allowing us to take so much time out of their weekly commission meeting. We really appreciate that because we know you're busy, got a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of information in your meetings, and we know this takes some time out of your weekly meetings. So thank you so much for letting us come in and mount this assault on your commission meeting and take a little bit of your time. But obviously, as you can see, we've just got some phenomenal people who do such great things, and it's really our pleasure. It's my honor to work with them, and I consider exactly that, working along beside them. It's my honor and my pleasure to have these fine people here as members of the office and members of Search and Rescue, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate them. So thank you, commissioners, for allowing us a little bit of time today. And if you're okay with it, do you mind if, can you excuse us? Is that okay?
Just no, 1 second.
Okay, all right.
And also, for those of you who recognize, why don't you join with us in recognizing your families who supported you while you were out doing your duty? Thank you. Now.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll get it.
Door is closed, and invite them into the vestibule so we can continue our meeting. Thank you. You guys ready to continue? Thanks. Great. We'll continue in our presentation under item E of our agenda with a presentation by the DTO group, a contract update. For all of you, and just for the record, I want you to know that last year that we decided we wanted to do some great messaging or some important messaging. And we went through a vetting process, through a bid process. The DTO group was chosen. They've done an awesome job, and we asked them to do a mid-year report, basically to see how we're doing. And so this is Sasha Clark, and we're glad she's here, and we invite you to continue, Sasha.
Thank you, commissioners. I don't think you could have picked a more inspirational and fantastic and intimidating presentation to have in front of mine. So thanks for that. But no, in all honesty, I'm so impressed with everyone I see and have had the opportunity to work with here at Weber County. They truly are the best, and I'm not biased at all. As Jim had mentioned, about a year ago, an RFP was put out by Weber County to do communication services. And I wanted to provide a little bit of backstory on how this all came to be and began so that we can give you a full report. This RFP process, I've been through a few, and I will say the Weber County one was the most grueling. So congratulations, I think you should wear that as a badge of honor. As on a personal note, I have several personal ties to this county. I have many family members that live here. My husband has businesses located here. For me, the success of Weber County is not just in the dollar amount of our contract. It is very much personal. I think I've spent more weekends in this county celebrating and enjoying the culture that you offer than anywhere else in the state. As we met around the table with other companies that were interested in submitting for the RFP, the sentiment was, and I was actually quite surprised, that the amount allocated for the first year would only provide a study. Most companies were saying that that amount would only afford them the opportunity to come up with a plan, but not execute it. And as I looked around the room and as I looked at the commissioners, we knew what Weber County needed. We knew Weber needed deliverables. We needed action, and you needed it quickly. And we also knew that you needed a lot more than was in that RFP, and we were happy to provide that. And another question I'd like to answer in this setting is why we believe Weber County decided to do it and contract this not in-house. And one pattern that we've noticed throughout the state is contracting communication services through an outside firm for a few reasons. The age we live in now with digital communication is multifaceted. It's no longer one person sending out press releases. It's videos, it's graphic design, it's digital communication, and press. There are so many avenues that are now incorporated into all of this, and it truly does take a team. Now, does Weber County want to pay for a team and their salaries? Absolutely not. Paying for the equipment, it is incredibly expensive. So I was actually quite proud of the county for being able to recognize that you needed a team, but you wanted access to a team in the most affordable way possible, and we're happy to have provided that. Our objectives, as the commissioners and the departments have given us, is to build unity throughout the community and also attract new people to build businesses, live, and play here in Weber County. So as we continue throughout this presentation, we will demonstrate how we have met all of the contract outlines and where we've also exceeded them, and how we plan to continue that pace throughout the remainder of the contract. The outlined, getting into the brass tacks of the contract, outlined it said that we were to meet weekly with the commissioners, create 24 videos, do a monthly newsletter, train employees, and do community feedback and polling. What that actually turned out to be, in this specific part of the contract, was a weekly meeting with not only the commissioners, but weekly meetings with departments and community partners. On any given week, I have 4 to 5 meetings with different community partners and departments. We are constantly communicating as a group with unity. We've created 29 videos so far with an additional 6 in the queue, and based on that last presentation, probably another 3 or 4 that we'd like to highlight because there were some incredible stories there. We turned the newsletter into something that's weekly. There was just too much content to fit it all into one month. There's too many great things going on. We've completed not 1 training, but 2 trainings and a 3rd in the calendar with social media and press, and then we'll also be training on the new branding package that we've unveiled. We've assisted in polling Weber County businesses as part of the new economic development initiative, creating videos, graphics, sending emails, mailers, anything we can do to get Weber County businesses to provide input to this commission and to the various departments so that we can better serve the community. And what this is actually equaled out to is approximately 5.5 million impressions on the Weber County social pages alone. 539 individual posts across 3 platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We've seen a growth on Facebook from 4,700 followers to 6,400, or an increase of 35% and 1,677 followers. Twitter, an even stronger increase, 928 or 306%. And Instagram, again, a better increase there, 41% increase. And we're planning on continuing to keep up with this growth. What this means for the people of Weber County is that they are able to stay informed at less than 22 cents a household. Now with this Salt Lake Tribune coming out with a subscription that says it's $8 per household to subscribe there, we feel like this is a real deal for the people of Weber County to get their news and to get their information. In addition, lest anyone think that this was exclusively about the commission and promoting commissioners, we've done the math. We've gone through every single post, and on any given platform, only 5 to 10% exclusively feature the commission. The remaining 90 to 95%, depending on the platform, highlight people in the community, highlight employees, highlight organizations, highlight events, highlight projects. Just to make sure and clarify, this was about transparency across the board. This was about promotion across the board. In comparing this, we wanted to provide you guys a benchmark so that you'll understand just exactly how much you're winning in Weber. Davis County, we went through every single surrounding county and tallied up how many social likes, follow, shares they had. As it turns out, Weber County has more likes than the counties of Davis, Utah, Salt Lake, Box Elder, and Cache County combined. We truly are leading the state.
Excuse me, combined?
Combined, and half of those counties are bigger than you. So we're quite proud of the work we've done. You truly are leading the state in this digital age. And then we went out of state. We said, okay, Utah's great. Let's take a look at some of the bigger states. Los Angeles County, we're bigger than them on Facebook, not in people, but Dallas County also have a greater following than them. Orange County, greater following than them. And then a little bit more outside of California, Maricopa County, better than them. This time next year, I hope to be able to provide you an even longer list of counties that we are better than. We're quite competitive here in Weber County, in case you can't tell. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Winning in Weber hashtag that so many of you are seeing, and I am thrilled at the integration level of it. One of the reasons we created a hashtag is because we wanted a trackable way, key trackable way to rally the community. And so with this hashtag, we have the software we can track not only who's using it, where they use it, how they use it. If it's positive material, neutral material, negative material, it's almost concerning how much detail I can pull from the people that use the hashtag Winning in Weber. And what we found is made us absolutely ecstatic. Integration, we integrated this hashtag by reaching out to community partners, citizens, local governments, economic development, and through photo contests. In fact, you'll see it on all of our social channels, on all of our business cards, all of our letterhead, email signatures, and even some socks that will be delivered soon for you guys to show around up on the hill and in your various meetings. What that means is since we've rolled this hashtag out in November, it has received 850,000 organic impressions with 513 individual posts by 82 different users. That is true integration, and we're very excited to see this continue. We really think it is a rallying point because we do win in Weber. It's been fun as I've gone to meetings that as we talk about positive material, someone will point out, hey, winning in Weber. Like, yep. So it's definitely been a rallying point, and we hope to continue to see it be that way. Now, getting into the content and what we've highlighted. This has been a very unique experience and one that I don't think any pre-contract could have ever predicted. And I'll get into this a little bit more. We've completed, as I mentioned, the 29 videos with 6 more in the queue. Our top videos was the Untifier Thank You. That was viewed 68,000 times. And that was a summary of basically highlighting how prepared Weber County was when the Untifier struck. At first reports, when I was actually at an expanded department head meeting with every department and all the commissioners when some of them got the call that the mountain was literally on fire. And we created a battle plan. I went straight to the D-Event Center. Holland Wilbanks, with the commission, went straight to the command post. And from that point, we unleashed a crisis communication platform that I've never seen up until this point. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But the thank you video was a rallying point for the community. And I was so great to be able to look at the comments. And as people thanked the firefighters, as people thanked volunteers, it was really wonderful to see the community come together. Second highest one was the Christmas Village. some footage we took there, again, highlighting the fantastic culture. And the third highest was a history of 25th Street. Now, 25th Street has an extensive history, but we chose a mother and daughter pair to highlight and talk about all the wonderful things that they had done. And that was viewed, as you can tell, I don't know how you wouldn't watch that and smile, but it was a great video, and it was stories that were told that had not been told before, that brought people to Weber County, that brought people to the Christmas Village, that made people proud of the emergency services provided by Weber County, that made people ecstatic about 25th Street and all that it has to offer. And that's what we're all about. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Other material that we also highlighted included Hispanic Heritage, Ogden Musical Theater's first event, Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and we set aside specific time and money for that project specifically, which resulted in 86,000 impressions, 2,000 interactions, 10,000 video views, and I believe a fantastic turnout for their very first year. We've also highlighted the fair, volunteers, the Balloon Line Ladies, and this is an interesting one. When the Blue Line Ladies came and presented their story to you, you then in turn directed them to us, and we created a video about their efforts. Up until that point, they had not received any recognition, particularly from the press or on social media, about what they had done. At that point, they were able to get a significant amount of press. In fact, just yesterday, I saw an article on them in the USA Today. And we're just really happy that they are getting the recognition they deserve, because it's a fantastic cause. Other subjects we've highlighted is voter registration, material of the legislature, Weber State Universities, they've been winning a lot, speaking of winning in Weber. Veterans, working with Visit Ogden on their various events, the Goal Foundation with the Ogden Marathon, Hill Air Force Base, our skiing industry, Ogden Eccles Theater, Golden Spike Event Center, various employees who've done fantastic jobs. We've also talked about Ogden-wide Photography Club and polling local businesses, and again, that economic development. The material is just nonstop, which is great. We're not putting lipstick on a pig by any means. We are just, it's very easy to talk about all the great material going on.
I didn't see something that highlighted the amazing and interesting life of assessors.
Don't worry, I'll get to them. Okay. One of the first videos I think we made was about the assessor's office. And I think he really liked it, right? Where is he? Anyways, he'll vouch for it. All right, so email content. As I mentioned, the idea in the contract was that these would be sent monthly. That just wasn't enough. Way too much great stuff. So we ended up sending that weekly. We've sent 279,000 with a 23% open rate. The average open rate for government is around 14 to 17%. So we're quite happy with that, and we'll continue to see that grow. And content came from all departments and community partners. You'll see everything advertising the Ogden Marathon to encouraging people to watch the Facebook Live of the Commission because for transparency. Another theme that we've come up with as we met with departments and met with the Commission was building tomorrow today. So in addition to our Winning in Weber theme, we came up with this idea. And as you'll see here, some of the artwork just from a few of those. The idea that Weber County is being proactive. We are the place to be, not because we're planning for the next 5 months, but because we're planning for the next 5 generations. And we are not only, it's not just a bunch of people in the room that are saying, this would be a great idea. We are getting feedback from the community on these digital platforms, which is fantastic for a few reasons. One, it's a lot cheaper to pull that information, and two, it's a lot faster. And we've just been excited with the growth, and we'll continue to see. This is just some of the artwork. This will be a theme for months to come. Now I want to get into some of the material that was not outlined in the current contract, but we felt Weber County needed. And since we are partners first and foremost, whatever Weber County needs, it is our job to get. So we realized that after meeting with the new head of HR, that a lot of the material wasn't cohesive across the various departments. Weber County is quite a large organization, and each department was kind of siloed in their material. So we came up with this branding package. We spent about 150 hours on it and working with every single department to make sure we gave them exactly what they needed. So this is just the Weber County version. There's about 8 different versions customized to the counties, but with consistency. So we've got letterhead, business cards, clothing, email signatures, style guide, slide decks, everything that a business corporation would have that we felt like Weber County's employees also deserve, just for cohesiveness and for branding. By doing this, we have brought ourselves into the digital and modern age. We have made it so that the consistency and the ease and everything is in one spot for the betterment of employees and Weber County as a whole. In addition to beyond the scope, we spend a significant amount of time at the legislative session and working with the county lobbyists. We are there at least once a week, if not twice, doing Facebook Lives, communicating with lobbyists on the benefits of Weber County. And we came to realize that we have quite a few fantastic representatives that are doing a great job and at times taking quite a few bullets for Weber County. We wanted to basically provide them a thank you and encourage them to continue to do what they do. Elected office is not an easy feat, and we were very proud of what they were doing, and we felt like not very many people knew about it. So we came up with these billboards and artwork for social media. This came out of DCO's own pocket. The county did not pay for these, and basically they do exactly what we wanted to accomplish. And they were very excited, and I think it encouraged them to continue to do hard legislation that would benefit the county that might not be popular with some of their co-legislators, but was right for the county. And so that's just one example. Here's another one. This is from Kelly Miles. We have another one with Mike Schultz that's about to roll out as well. And now the final piece of this puzzle that I would like to mention is crisis communications. And again, it was not outlined in the contract, and it wasn't in the contract not because the commissioners knew they didn't need it. I think because if they added everything that they knew that they needed, they couldn't afford anyone. But the idea again was we are partners. We get whatever you need. And as I had mentioned, I was in the meeting when we all got the call, and we were able to jump immediately into action. And from at this point, actually, the results we saw from our crisis communications efforts, we've been invited to present throughout the state as a template for future counties and for other crises. It was so successful. We were meeting on the scene, we coordinated press conferences and made sure that we had accurate info at all times. At one point, the emergency services line, I think it was 211, wasn't working as well as we would have hoped. And so signs were put up that said, call 211 for information. Well, eventually those signs all came down and said, follow Weber County on Twitter. Because that was where the information was coming, and it was coming very quickly. We knew that the press and the TV communities, as much as they were there, they couldn't post material fast enough, but we could. So we pushed material constantly, and we'll get to those numbers in a minute, by using social media. And what was one of the best parts about this whole thing is it cost the county nothing. The platforms were there. People were used to getting information from Weber County on these pages. It was a very easy transition into providing accurate crisis information in people's almost most dire time of need. What those numbers ended up looking like was 6 press conferences over 3 days. On Facebook alone, we added over 1,000 likes in 48 hours. We became the source of information everyone wanted. Over 94,000 video views, 378,000 impressions, 3,141 likes, and 2,205 shares. What those numbers tell me is that we were providing relevant information in a very timely manner, again, at no cost to the county, no additional cost to the county. We use Twitter to interact a lot with the press, Facebook and Instagram to interact with the constituency. In fact, we were able to, a few hours into it, get a tweet message from the governor saying, thank you for doing such a great job keeping the people informed on the progress you went to fire. We've shared your information to get the word out, keep up the good work. And this was not about one person sitting behind a computer tweeting. This was a massive team effort of confirming good information, getting good information, then pushing that out. There were hundreds of people involved in making this happen. And we were obviously recognized for it. And appreciated the standards coverage of it as well, talking about some of the preparations that we were able to do. We worked closely with them, and then also writing eventually letters to the editor and op-eds that were from the commission's perspective on how everything went. And that's what I have presented for you today. I just want to summarize and thank you. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know we've had an excellent commission meeting so far, but I wanted to thank so many people. We will continue at this pace. It has been quite the adventure, and every department has been involved. Everyone from, and I have a few names here of the people I've had the pleasure to work with: Marty, Jennifer, Duncan, Cassie, Sarah and Julie, Quinn, Sean, John Park, Stacy, Michelle, Shelley, John Bond, John Newleberry, Sheriff Thomson and Stephanie, Chris Allred, Lori and Brian, Leah and Ricky, Michelle Jackson, Ryan, Charlie Ewert, Holland, and of course the commission. We have worked closely together. This has been a team effort that has been able to play out on the digital scale at a very cost-effective price of the taxpayer. We look forward to continuing at this pace for the remainder of the contract, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission has at this point.
Commissioners? Any comments?
I have a comment. So the power of social media is amazing to me. We, on the Uinta fire, had spent 3 days. We had closed several areas down, and a lot of folks were very interested in getting in as quickly as they could. And in our last meeting with the community members, we advised them where we were and that we were opening up the last area. We showed them what the process was to get in. We wanted to keep people from just, driving past the looky-loos. And we ended that little conference with the community members, and we kind of stood for 4 or 5 minutes, and then as individuals were grabbing their placards to get back in, and we got a phone call from the deputies, basically, and they were saying, we've got a line of 20 cars here that are saying that this area is opened. And so social media had pushed it out by those folks who were sitting in the audience before our communications was able to reach out to the deputies and say, this is open. And they had lined their cars up, 20 cars deep. So it is a very powerful medium, and we understand the value in transparency. So thank you for the great work.
Sasha, I don't know that in my more than 2 decades here, I don't know that through a professional contract I've ever seen a mid-year report. It was important to us that we wanted to share publicly how you were doing. I want to express from us our appreciation on your professionalism. I appreciate you going above and beyond. You have done things that we did not ask you to do in an RFP. You have met with more people and done more projects than we anticipated before we put out a request for proposal. You have been kind, you've followed through, you've been professional, and you've dealt very well with the unexpected. And to that, we're very grateful. With less than 22 cents per household per year, you've also been incredibly cost effective. And so we appreciate that. Certainly, the winning in Weber has been wonderful, and it has helped us with our commitment, including with putting these meetings online and all the detail that comes with it online, for us being miles ahead as far as transparency than we've ever been in the past. We continue to improve, and we'll continue with that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
With that, we'll move on to item F in our agenda, our consent items. Number 1 on that is a request for approval of warrants 1346, 1360, and 425659 to 425865 in the amount of $1,551,571.24. Item 2 is a request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $31,864.06. Item 3, a request for approval of the minutes for the meeting held on February 13th, 2018. And item 4, a request for the Weber County Elections Department to approve to surplus 98 voter privacy booths. Any questions, commissioners? Mr. Lynn Taylor, will you give us a synopsis, please?
Thank you, Commissioner. We had 12 purchase orders for a total of $32,000. The largest of those was 45% or $14,000 to IT for security services and hardware. There were also 222 checks for $1.6 million. These were 31% or $474,000 for library construction, 12% or $191,000 for paramedic services, 11% or $177,000 to Weber Human Services, and 8% or $120,000 went to the jail for food, utilities, services, rent, and service fees. 7% or $103,000 for public defender, and 5% or $79,000 to the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thank you. Commissioners, with that report, are there any other questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the consent items.
I have a motion and a second. There's no more discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item G is the action items. Our first action item, Mr. Olson, is a request from the Weber County Tax Review Committee for the approval of a refund of $635.87 to Michael Collins, parcel 16-13300. And I believe that's 0006. Isn't there another zero in there due to an incorrect calculation of square footage?
You're correct, sir. 3 zeros.
I'm just a overall wearing farm boy, but it worked okay. I can do math.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Tax Review Committee. Through the 2017 Board of Equalization, we identified that there was an incorrect calculation of square footage on a property owned by Mr. Collins, parcel 16-133 and 6. We dealt with the correct calculation of square footage and value for the 2017 Board of Equalization. Mr. Collins made a request to the Tax Review Committee that we go back to previous years, calculate value based on the correct data, and refund the difference in tax. Using the Judicial Rule 78B-2-307, we did a calculation of value for the previous 4 years, which would be 2016 through 2013. Based on that calculation, with input from legal, we're recommending to the commission that we refund Mr. Collins an amount of $635.87. And I've been in contact with Mr. Collins. He's aware of that amount, and he's aware of this process.
Great. Any questions, Commissioner? None hearing, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I want to thank the Tax Review Committee for their work on this, and Joe, you as well, for your efforts here. We know that, as we saw last week, in another situation, I wouldn't say similar, another situation, these are difficult to work through. We appreciate the process that you have set up and the difficulty to do so, and the effort that it takes to make sure and get it right for our constituents. And so with that, I'll make a motion that we approve the refund of $635.87 to Michael Collins.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Mr. Ulibarri, appreciate you being here also. You're cleaning them up. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
You're always invited.
Item number 2, a request for approval of ratification of an amended contract between Weber County and Thomson Reuters to provide legal research services to the public defenders. Chris Crockett, will you take that for Mr. Barron?
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. This is a small amendment to an existing contract that the county has to provide access to a software called Westlaw, which is used by the public defenders to conduct legal research. The amendment is to add 2 licenses because we've added 2 new appellate attorneys, and that would result in a monthly increased charge of $176.
Okay, great. Commissioners.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ratification of the amended contract by between Weber County and Thomas. Is it Reuters, however you'd like to pronounce it, for legal research services?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no other question, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Mr. Crockett, I'll have you on the next one, which is a request for approval of amended public defender's contract between Weber County and Michael Bowis, Weber County, and Logan Bushell. Bushell. I don't. How do you say his name?
Bushell.
Bushell.
I don't think the Bushell is the difficult one. I think it's the Bowis that would be.
That was easy. Bushell is a French word.
Okay.
And I do have to say that with the previous one, I used the term Westlaw because I didn't know how to pronounce that second word as well. We just call it Westlaw. This is again, a small amendment between these two public defender contracts. Because of scheduling issues, these two attorneys have agreed to make a change in one of their assignments. And so this is just that small modification to be presented to you for approval.
Commission,
That we approve.
great. We have a motion to approve. Any,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. There's no other question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Excuse me. Did you say aye?
I did say aye.
Okay, I didn't hear it. Thank you. Our last thing is Mr. Olson. We have a request for approval of a contract item between Weber County and Utah State Cutter and Chariot Racing Association to hold the 2018 Utah State Chariot Championships at the Golden Spike Event Center.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning to Mr. Olson.
Mine's not as awesome as those sheriffs and everybody, but we're right up there with the chariot racing, and it's that time of year again. So we're just asking to approve the contract with us being a sponsor and helping out the chariot races this weekend.
In what way are we sponsoring this?
So we get recognized as a sponsor. We donate the track in trade for the contract. And so we come in as one of their major sponsors for the state chariot races.
But we do collect revenue from what sources?
So concessions and stalls will be our two big ones. We also have our RV spots that are getting used.
Commissioners, any questions?
I'm excited. I'll make a motion if you're ready.
I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve this contract between Weber County and the Utah State Cutter and Chariot Association.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great, motion carries. We'll move on to item H in our agenda, public comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you'd please state your name for the record.
I would be happy to. Lori Brinkerhoff, 6205 West, 4700 South, Hooper, Utah.
Can we start the clock?
Yes, it's more helpful when you have the clock up there. It really is a benefit. Sometimes you lose track here. But I just, actually, when I looked at your agenda last Friday, my intent of coming today was just to say congratulations to all of you. What a great job that each of these different departments that we've seen the presentations today, and each three of you commissioners. As I see you at the Capitol every Thursday, you are doing a tremendous job for Weber County. You're making that legislative reach, supporting these important issues, and there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. I see your staff there. I see your recorders, your surveyors, your entire team, your elections officers, all of them down there working for Weber County. So that was my intent, was to come and say thank you. Thank you to your entire staff. Of course, thank you to the Sheriff's Department. I don't know how much time I have. I'm trying to keep it quick here. But I wish Sheriff Thomson was still here when he got up and he left, and I said, Sheriff, I wanted to congratulate you on your many years of success. He's going to be missed at Weber County. He has done a great job in leading the Sheriff's Department. I know as I worked at Hooper City, one of the benefits we received every week was the Pat-on reports from the Sheriff's Department. I read every single one of those. It was an eye-opener to see the type of issues that Weber County sheriffs were dealing with. At first I would look at Hooper, but then we'd look at unincorporated. We'd look at West Haney. We'd look at the Valley, what was going on in the summer months, the hiring of additional officers, and what a huge impact that the Sheriff's Department has been in being proactive and staying ahead of all these issues. So my congratulations to all those. I wish they were still here, but I appreciate them and all their efforts. And last of all, thank you to Shasha and the DCO group. That is extraordinary what is going on. I wish I had her working for me right now. Her vision, her communication, understanding what's going on in Weber County. I have to offer really quick, unless I'm out of time. If I'm out of time, I'll stop, but someone tell me. I was out gathering signatures recently on 25th Street. I go to the farmer's market. I ran into a cousin of mine from West Valley City. I didn't even recognize her at first. I haven't seen her for 15 years. And I said, what are you doing here? She said, I keep seeing these tweets, winning in Weber. So she and her children, and they enjoyed a morning here in Ogden. So as I've been out and about, I'm seeing so many positive things, and I believe it's because of that campaign. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any others?
As Lori is walking away, I just want to mention that talking about the power of social media, Facebook told me this morning that today's Lori's birthday. And, some of us are still happy to have birthdays. And anyway, congratulations, Lori.
Happy birthday, Lori.
Thank you very much. I'm 52, not 25, and I'm okay with that. So.
I don't know if it's appropriate to sing, but I just accept our happy birthday wishes. You're welcome.
If there's no other public comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Adjourn.
And it's non-debatable. We stand adjourned. Thank you.